I tend to get a lot more hate than the average person on YouTube or anywhere, really, I guess. Some people really felt a certain kind of way about how I do things and how I feel about things. I've never been one to shy about how I feel about my opinions when it comes to gaming, and I think that really kind of pisses people off. And I get that I was like, even though I've never claimed to be this, some kind of, and I don't want to use the word light or whatever, but hero or Xbox, like people really did look at me as some kind of great, Xbox guru or something. And the thing was, it was so believable because it was so true for me, like I honestly was just really impressed and believed everything that Microsoft was saying. And Phil Spencer comes across as a real genuine guy. And so I was fooled like a lot of you were. And then, of course, when that doesn't come out to be true, I get pissed off and, a little bit bitter and stuff. Now, I would like to kind of question, why is it so controversial to, as somebody who is an Xbox fan, and don't kid yourself, I am an Xbox fan. I probably have more Xbox games and Xboxes and stuff like that than any of you that are watching this right now. I can probably guarantee it. So why is it such a controversial thing for an Xbox fan to call out Xbox and to want better as a consumer, right? And listen, if your only thing that you can come up with and say is Phil Spencer in 2016 called you out for the Quantum Break thing, then you obviously have no place listening to the video in the first place, being that you are too ignorant and stupid to understand that that was 2016 and I was still an Xbox fan for many years after that, up until 2019 E3 when they dropped the goose egg again. Just terrible E3 that year, just awful. So, again, I think that maybe I get a little bit of a bad rap. That's really up to you guys. Maybe people are like, oh, well, it's a constant thing. Fair enough, I think, to say that, yeah, it's a constant thing. But could you also figure out, from my point of view, or just from my shoes, take a step and then kind of and go at it this way, okay? I, as a Xbox fan, put up with a lot of stuff, bought into a lot of stuff. Phil Spencer sells us one console in 2016. Yep. Tells us there's another one coming that's 4K. Yep. Okay. Buy into that. We're going to get more exclusives. We're going to get VR. So I bought into that one. And then 2.5 years later, sell us another one. Right? And there's no content to showcase these consoles. There's no content to warrant these, but he keeps promising content, including VR, which he completely backtracked on. Again, I feel like people go, oh, well, you're always so wrong about all this stuff, Crapgamer. And if we could go back to 2018 when Microsoft made these acquisitions to their first batch of new studios, and I said, hey, that's cool, but just judging by going off of what they have in the hopper, what they're working on now, they're probably not going to have anything ready till 2023, 2024. That's a long wait, considering, we've already had kind of a lackluster generation where the games that we got were very subpar, incomplete, a lot of them fodder. A lot of them we were lied to time and time again. Phil Spencer, once again, Crackdown 3 is great. We wanted to sit next to Halo and Gears. A complete BS, right? Like BS and a BSer, really. And then the amount of people that try to cover for this millionaire, I'll never understand that, right? This guy is a millionaire working for a $1 trillion company, and he's got a bunch of people, YouTubers, everybody else, defending him. Like this guy, Captain Save-a Spencer, right? Like this guy literally does not, if there's anybody that doesn't need anyone defending him, it's Phil Spencer, right? This guy has cleanly admitted that he was at the meetings when Matrick was doing all this stuff, and they went with their original ideas, and they're doing the original ideas again, by the way. But people are too stupid to realize it. They're clap, 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 clap for him, So again, when I mentioned that their games were probably 2023, 2024, you know what I heard? I heard that I was a fearmonger. Yeah, I heard that I was a radical. I heard that I was negative and toxic. I heard all of this nonsense, right? All of it. And, you know, I took it in stride. Like, listen, you don't build up almost an entirely Xbox laden YouTube fan base, which is what I did, right? And then, you know, you start to get unhappy, and I stopped my Xbox podcast because I was unhappy. And, you know, I started being very honest about my feelings towards Xbox, and people started unsubscribing, obviously. You know, but I knew this stuff in advance. I even said to multiple people, I said, well, I'm gonna be honest about how I feel now. You know, I felt differently back then. Like, Xbox had games. The whole reason I bought an Xbox One over a PS4 was the games. You know, and now I feel like they really betrayed what Xbox is all about. You know, listen, Xbox was never about putting stuff on a beeper or a watch, or, you know, it's like hardcore games. Now I feel like the console is the thing they care the least about, you know. And I warn people, I'm like, listen, it seems to me like Microsoft is trying to transition people away from their console, and people will throw up in my face, well, they're making consoles. Well, of course they are, because that would be very bad PR for them to stop making consoles right now. They want to continue as basically a third-party publisher. You don't think that they would want Game Pass on PlayStation and Nintendo? That's third-party, folks. That's what third-party is. Just because they would have a console doesn't mean that they wouldn't want to be third-party. So that's the ironic part to all of this. Like, people just don't understand. Now, when it comes to, you know, all the and listen, PlayStation side's no better. Jim Ryan's a liar. It's just that I'm not a sucker. Like, I was a big sucker when it comes to, like, Phil Spencer and all that kind of stuff. But people just look at me like I was always wrong about Xbox or something, or mad about Xbox because of a tweet in 2016. And I got to be honest, I was never mad about the tweet because, and not that YouTube is, like, YouTube's never been a career for me. I've always had to work full-time and stuff like that. But, you know, I did get a bump in popularity, even though people don't believe it. Like, there was a lot of people, thousands upon thousands of people who believe just like I do, that putting all your games day and date on PC kind of kills the need to buy your platform. And the facts are, you know, Xbox One ended up selling 41 million, which is significantly less than the almost 90 million Xbox 360s. And, you know, the supply and demand things, people will always gravitate towards stuff if they think it's, you know, high in demand and hard to get. So that explains, you know, why, and it's still a 10 million to 5 million difference between PS5 and Xbox Series XS. You know, but people, like, really, they kind of get in their feelings about this stuff. Like, I don't have a right to talk bad about Xbox. Well, listen, if somebody who owns, let's see, what did I get? Four or five Xbox Ones. I bought an Xbox One for $500 at launch. I bought multiple S's. I bought multiple X's. I've got an Xbox Series X. I've got an Xbox Series S. I've got over 1,100, maybe close to 1,200 games total for my Xboxes. I've got, you know, 8, 9, 10 controllers. You know, I literally, even looking at my collection, I have a physical Xbox 360 collection of something like 700 games. I have over 150 original Xbox games. You know, I have a lot of games. You know, and I've always bought games. I've always supported developers. I've been honest. Listen, people also get mad at me for my take on Game Pass. I don't think Game Pass is bad, but for somebody who has games in the amount that I have, tell me how Game Pass does anything for me, right? Like, again, you probably can't. I don't care about, you know, spending $60 or $70 on a game that I'm really going to enjoy, right? It does, like, gaming has always been kind of an expensive hobby, and, you know, Game Pass has a place for a certain type of person, but that person's not me, and that's the point that I always try to make. And if it's for you, then that's fine. I'm not kind of trying to knock it. Why is it so bad to just kind of be honest about it, though, right? Like, that's the thing that I kind of like to point out, and I don't understand, like, why is it controversial, or why does, you know, people hate on me specifically for being honest about it? I didn't flip-flop. Like, people don't understand that. If I bought an Xbox One, and please, don't be like the Idiocracy scene. If I bought an Xbox One based on exclusives, and they stopped making exclusives and I start enjoying another platform that has exclusives, how is that me that's flip-flopping? Like, can somebody maybe explain that to me? I would absolutely love to know. I honestly would. How is it such a controversial thing for an Xbox fan? Or is like the thing that really pisses me off or kind of baffles my mind and gives me a headache when I think about this is a lot of you Xbox fanboys would rather believe that a tweet from 2016 made me quote unquote switch to PlayStation than the factual statement that Xbox dropped the ball in creating content for gamers, right? They haven't had a AAA Xbox release exclusive in almost 2 years, and they haven't released a first-party game, big or small, this entire year. No games, 7 months in, nothing. So how is it that that is bad or wrong for me to bring up? If somebody can please explain that to me, I would love to hear that on Twitter, on anywhere. Please tell me how that's a bad thing, what I'm doing, or how I'm wrong for feeling the way I do. Rack that up.